Welcome to technical session number 45. Continuing to jump around a bit here. For today, we are going to be discussing data destruction and disposal methods. What do we do with drives and computers and stuff like that when we're done with them? What if we've used them and we have personal information on it, we have corporate information on it, we have, stuff we don't necessarily want people getting their hands on and or using. So for this particular technical session, we'll be explaining the purpose of disposing of data and when this would be appropriate. We're going to be compare and contrast the following methods of disposing of data: formatting, sanitation, destruction, etc., and describe some common ways to physically destroy data on hard drives. So why do we do this? Well, we just talked about that a minute ago. There might be sensitive data, personally identifiable data, account data, reports, records, all that kind of fun stuff. There may be regulatory requirements with regards to organizations or companies. There may be proprietary data you don't necessarily want getting out there. There are a ton of various reasons as to why you would want to try to avoid someone else getting their hands on the data. So our main purpose is going to be to try to get rid of this data and using various methods to do so. And just because we delete something, even after we've removed it from the recycle bin, it is still on our systems. It does not make the data go away. All right. So methods of data disposal fall into three basic camps. First one is the least secure for the most part, and that is formatting. As we talked about before, for the most part, formatting does not erase the data. It just prepares the drive to write new data to it, and it erases the map, so to speak. And then next level, going to be a little bit more secure. That is sanitation. It's using some form of software or what have you to wipe the data off the drives and make it or render it unrecoverable. And then the drives can be reused. And then finally, and the more entertaining of the three, destruction. This is rendering a drive no longer usable by any means. And this is using things like industrial shredders, degaussing, drills and hammers, incineration, and then finally, once all of these things are done, depending on the sensitivity of the data, we may have to acquire something called a certificate of destruction. All right, so standard formatting, we talked about, basically erases the map. You have the quick and the full format. Does anybody remember what the difference is between a quick format and a full format?
The time it takes to format?
That is true. But what is done in the full format that's not done in the quick format?
Fully gets rid of everything?
Well, if we just talk, formatting doesn't really get rid of everything. It just erases the map. So the data is still there. We can recover it with regards to standard and quick format. But what's the difference between the quick and the regular? If we are going to prepare a drive to receive new information, what would be something that would be very important to know when we're creating our map?
Is it the sectors?
What about the sectors?
Checking to see if any of them are bad sectors.
Exactly.
To be able to.
So when we're creating our map, it'd probably be a good idea to determine if any of these sectors are bad and unable to receive data. So we don't waste our time trying to write data to it or writing stuff to it, and then not being able to recover that information. So that's the difference between the quick and the regular. And then we have something called a low-level format. This is typically something that's done at the factory. And this can be used to wipe the disk completely clean. The old IDE and SATAs, they're low-level formatted at the manufacturer, even before the drive can be partitioned, before anything can be done on it. And it's not necessarily dependent upon the operating system. It used to require special equipment, but that is not necessarily the case anymore. But this is typically something done at the manufacturer, not something the average person would do. And that is a low-level format. And I know when we're thinking about this, we're thinking about it being like, oh, it's barely formatting anything. No, we need to think about it in it's going deep. It's going very low into the drive, all the way down to its core and trying to format there. So low level. All right. Sanitation. So that's it for formatting. We just have our standard formatting, which is like barely any security. And we're basically just rewriting the map. Data's still there. And then we have low level formatting, which is typically a manufacturer performed function. All right, sanitation, second level. We have overriding. This is going to be a little bit higher level of security than formatting. We have the overriding data, which basically randomly writes ones and zeros over the hard drive multiple times. I think 8 basically means the data is pretty much gone. 16 for military grade recovery. And then a lot of these, though, will do like 32 plus passes over your entire drive, just randomly writing ones and zeros. Basically, we're rendering any data recovery impossible or improbable at this point. One of the most popular at the time is something called DBAN, which is Darik's boot and nuke. And full drive erase and removal program. Completely overwrites everything on the drive. Used to come in CDs. Now they come on thumb drives. Definitely not something you want to accidentally plug into your computer when you boot it up. So, DBAN, an overwrite program. Other ones, drive wipes. So, basically, as it states, if you want to try to make it possible or verify beyond a reasonable doubt that a piece of hardware is no longer being used and doesn't contain any data, but you still want to allow the hardware to be recycled, then you would use something like a drive wipe. If it's not possible for you to assure that the hardware does not contain any important data, then it should be destroyed. So this is something you would use if you didn't have super sensitive data. You weren't, like if you were doing government contracting or credit card information, stuff like this. This would be like a standard user's computer, and you want to recycle it so that it can be, reused by somebody or what have you. Then you would do a drive wipe. If it held sensitive data or proprietary information or something like that, physical destruction is your only method. All right. Got some fill in the blanks here. Give you about a minute or two to give it a shot. All right, so. Justin Cox, can you read to me the first one and tell me what the answer is?
Kind of formatting sets up the file system. It installs a boot sector and clears out any file table that might be in the system. However, it doesn't physically remove any of the old data from the drive. Would that be a regular format?
Do we agree?
Quick format,
Why do you say quick, Savvy?
because it does not do a full cleanup like the regular format form or the
Not
deep.
quite there, not quite what I'm
cleansing.
looking at.
It's
right
because
here.
it doesn't check for the bad sector, so it can't
There we
it
go,
can't be the
Jamal.
Right.
full, it can't be the regular format.
There we go. So what would we call this then?
That would be the quick format.
Quick format, okay. Excellent.
Yeah, the installs a boot sector kind of threw me off.
There we go, quick format. All right, let's see here. Garminesh, can you read for us the second one, please? Let us know what we're dealing with.
Okay. A kind of formatting is not only going to set up the file system, it's
Mhm.
also going to fully erase all data on the drive and check for bad sectors.
Okay, what would you call this?
The regular format,
All right, do we agree? All right, get a lot of nods, yes. All right.
Yes.
So regular format. And then the last one, kind of formatting, is not operating system dependent and completely wipes the disk clean. And that is the low level format. There we go. Very good. On to our next and more entertaining version of data destruction, that is physical destruction. So it's basically rendering the component no longer usable. After you're done with it, it cannot be used as a drive at all. There's a few different ways we can do this. First one up is an industrial shredder, which is just a giant version of the paper shredders that we use. It is a lot beefier. These things come also with a beefier price tag. You're talking about, shredders that can cost tens of thousands of dollars. That can destroy a hard drive. But once a hard drive comes through there is not getting anything off that drive again. Basically, what you see happen to a piece of paper, this does to hard drives. Also can be used for DVDs, CDs, commercial paper, have the ability to destroy those as well. But bigger shredders needed for drives and things like that. Also, electromagnetic degaussing. This works for mechanical hard drives, not so much for SSD, unless it's extremely powerful, but it's more effective on the magnetic. This is essentially just a very, very powerful magnet. And basically destroys the drive in and of itself, eliminates everything that is on there. And it also destroys all the factory pre-recorded servo tracks. So it renders the drive thoroughly useless. So that is electromagnetic degaussing. Most entertaining and cathartic is the drill and hammer method. So you can either take a drill multiple holes through the drive casing, shattering and or permanently damaging the platter inside, or you can take heavy hammers and swing and destroy them. This works for DVDs, CDs, all that kind of fun stuff. Mechanical drives, USBs, all that kind of fun stuff. Very cathartic, very, very fun. However, if you have 10,000 hard drives to destroy, is this a method you're going to want to try to do? Swinging a 5-pound sledge for a minute or two is fun, but doing it for hours and hours and hours in a day, less fun. Sounds a lot more like work. So if you have a few drives to get rid of, this is probably, a viable method. If you have tons of drives to get through, likely industrial shredder or electromagnetic degaussing is going to be your choice. Next on the list, incineration. Just basically a very, very hot fire, and basically is going to reduce all the drives to ash and render them basically unusable. So burn rooms, furnaces, incineration, just using fire to destroy them as well. And then finally, what happens later if we are audited and they say, hey, what happened to these 10,000 hard drives that you guys used to own? If there are regulatory requirements that we have strict auditing procedures in place for all technical equipments, especially things like hard drives and stuff like that, we need to provide what are called CODs, or certificates of destruction, which means we would typically use a third party that specializes in data destruction methods. So small organizations, you may not have to worry about this, but larger companies, again, there may be regulatory requirements that provide you show proof that the data itself was destroyed. All right. Let's see here. Scenario 1. Kurt, can you read first, please?
Sure. Mark is a senior in college and is graduating in June. His new job will be buying him a brand new laptop. He is trying to sell his current laptop to someone at his college to make a little extra cash upon graduation. Which data destruction method should he use?
So what do you think? So you just use it for college. Another thing we need to keep in mind is the level of trust we have with who's going to be receiving the computers. So what scenario do you think would be best fit for this one, Kurt? And why?
Well, it sort of depends, because it would be a regular format, because that's like the easiest thing to do.
Okay.
But
What if he's a computer science major?
Right, but it's not the safest. But low level would cost more.
Okay.
And you would have to send it somewhere to get that done. So
Okay.
I would just say a regular format.
So regular format, we think. Anybody else have any other options on that one? Nobody thinks we should incinerate the hard drive before we sell it to somebody? Regular format, and why I say, what if it's a computer science major, is regular format, the data can be recovered, right?
Yeah.
What are some other options?
Sanitation.
Okay, like what?
A drive wipe?
There you go, drive wipe.
Okay.
So we didn't have any super sensitive information on there, but we don't want them recovering like our social security number and all that fun stuff, because they used to use those all the time in college as our student numbers and stuff. But we don't have a very high level of trust. So drive wipe, It's everything off of there. And then we can reinstall the operating system and sell it at that point. So that'd probably be your best bet, right?
Okay.
So try to think about your level of trust and what our options are. All right, scenario 2. Adebimpe, can you read for us?
A Fortune 500 retail required certified secure destruction of over 1,000 hard drives and removal and recycle of 350 PC. All work had to be certified with complete accountability and auditing trails. Which data destruction method should he use?
Okay, what do you think?
Okay. I'll think a quick format.
Quick format? So like no data erasure, just resetting the maps. Do we agree?
Maybe industrial shredding and a certificate of destruction.
Okay,
Certificate of destruction for sure, because it says they're gonna have to report to somebody.
yeah, so they're asking for a certified secure destruction, right? So would the hammer and drill method work?
No, I don't think that's a certified.
No, that's 1,000 hard drives.
It's 1,000 hard drives. It's gonna be a lot of work, right? So industrial shredder works. Any others might work?
Incineration.
Incineration, there you go. Anything else? Got one more out there that would fit. Typically only used for magnetic hard drives. Though.
The degaussing
Degaussing.
or
Yeah, degaussing. So industrial shredder, incineration, or degaussing, because we have a low level of trust here, right? So the government is not going to just be okay if we go, trust me, we got rid of them. You know, no, they want certificates of destruction for auditing purposes and all that kind of fun stuff so that we have, you know, chain of custody and basically proof that we disposed of the drives responsibly. So low level trust, regulatory requirements, you go to incinerate, degauss, or shredder. All right, up next. Let's see here, McLeet, can you read for us, please?
You are giving your computer to your parents. Which data destruction method should be used?
I'd like to preface this. It really depends on the relationship you have with your parents. Let's assume that we have a good one. So what do you think, McLeet? What would we do?
Sorry, I was reading my notes. I was thinking certification, but I don't really understand.
Okay, that's fair.
I see everyone saying quick format.
So you want to come off mute, explain
But I don't understand
why
why.
we'd use quick format? Anybody? Somebody?
Because it's your parents and you have a level of trust, so you don't
Okay.
need to get rid of everything.
So it's our parents. We're assuming there's a high level of trust here. We're not really worried about them trying to reconstruct the hard drive and steal our data, right? So quick formatting would be the way, because all it does is reset the map. It allows it to rewrite over it, but it doesn't erase anything. So That'd be one way to look at it. So very good. All right. So when and why would you suggest a client bring in a third party to destroy your data? When and why would you bring in a third party company to destroy your data?
When it's government related stuff and
If you have government contracts, yeah, that'd be one way, one time.
They might also be able to provide you the certificate of destruction.
Certificates of destruction if it's required for regulatory reasons. We have to prove what happened to those drives. Anything else? When you don't know what you're doing. Go ahead, Tamika.
Any like super sensitive information, like if they've had like their credit card information or anything that's super sensitive.
Yeah, that's a good one. Excellent, Tamika. So yeah, if there's like super sensitive information, people's credit card numbers, social security numbers, health records.
What about if you're under investigation and stuff?
Then it would probably be bad to do something like that.
They usually get the data, then, oh, okay, I see.
If you're under investigation and you start destroying hard drives, that usually is not a good sign. So I would advise against destroying hard drives if they have an open investigation on you, because it usually doesn't work out well.
Oh, you might also have a lot of drives, and you might not have an industrial shredder or be
There you
able
go.
to have the means to
Excellent.
burn them all.
So you may have 1,000 hard drives to destroy, and you don't want to waste 2 or 3 more of your days swinging a hammer destroying hard drives, right? Again, might be fun at first, can get a little tedious after a while. All right. So real quickly, what does a third party provide its clients to confirm their data has been destroyed correctly?
Certificate of destruction.
Certificate of destruction. Very good. All right, what does a degausser use to render drive electronics unusable?
Electromagnet.
Magnet.
Powerful magnets. Very good. What are the physical ways we can destroy drives?
With a hammer.
Drill them,
Smash
hammer.
it with a hammer.
Hammer.
Okay.
Shredding it.
Shredder.
That's what Donald Trump should have did. He should use the hammer.
Incineration.
Incineration.
The drill.
Well, yeah, already said drill. Drill and
Oh,
hammer.
I already said drill. My bad.
So we said drill. We said shredder, and we said incinerator.
Degaussing.
Degaussing. There we go.
Ocean.
What was that, Justin?
I said the ocean, thrown it in the
Still in
ocean.
the ocean. Yeah, that'll work after a while. I mean, you have to wait for corrosion to set in.
So are you
There we
saying
go.
that data? Are you saying that the data can still survive even after being in the ocean?
I'm saying the electronics may work, but the data would still be on the platter.
Wow.
So if you could, disassemble the drive, throw it in a new mechanical drive, throw the platter in a new mechanical drive, and spin it up, you could retrieve the data. So otherwise, we would just throw everything in a saltwater tank and be done with it, right?
Right.
And if there is no power to the drive and you're able to clean out the drive properly, if it's like a thumb drive or something like that, it'll work just fine. And it'll do absolutely nothing to a CD or DVD.
That's something I did not know.
So what are some reasons we'd want to wipe our computers? Clean the data.
Personal information, credit card information.
Personal information, credit card information, sensitive data. Regulatory requirements. So, there's a variety of reasons. Lastly, so this is an entire drive, full drive erase and data removal program. It completely erases everything, overwrites everything that is on the drive, rewrites ones and zeros on it. What is the name of a program that does this?
Is it wipe?
So white, but what was the name of the program we used?
D-bond or something?
D-band. There we go, D-band. I think it's Dantel's boot and nuke. Very good. 4 quick questions.